Hey everybody, welcome back. Episode 27 of the Fast Motor Podcast. Elijah, my dad, Randy. We are on the same time zone for the first time in a while. I will start. We'll just get right into it. A lot of racing, and we are in the heat of the end of summer. The episode is titled "In the Cornfields" because there's a lot of racing in Iowa right now, and a lot of good racing in Iowa. It's an exciting time. Starting off with a headline: Chase Briscoe acquires Brent Marks Racing. It's kind of the second guy to capitalize on the charter system. You had Spire at the beginning of the year buying the one from, Jason Myers, and now Briscoe acquiring Marks. He's going to keep Marks as the driver. Marks said he's very excited about that career move and the timing for him of being able to kind of step down from the team owner role. So Briscoe is going to be a national sprint car owner, which I know he's excited about. So I think it's on all sides really good for the sport. And we're seeing the benefits of them implementing the charter system because clearly guys are seeing some value in it.
Yeah, I saw a quote from Kevin, his father, somewhere. Obviously that they'd never been able to run for a national championship as a family. So as sprint car owners, because his grandfather owned cars, Kevin owned cars, drove, and then now Chase. So that they're checking that box, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, I mean, race teams are worth something when you have a charter. There's value to them, not just assets, because assets you can buy. So you either, would buy teams for 50 cents on the dollar or whatever, because it's not new. Nobody knows how engine's been taken care of or what have you. So you can never get a lot of money out of them. But now that you lock in prize money and you lock in starting positions and such, it becomes valuable. So I think it's great. I know I think it was Mark's quoting saying this would have never happened without Brad Sweet and Kyle Larson helping build this up. So I know people complain about it just because it's not so raw where people are there, but I think you'll see people place an investment in it, which will get better teams, better better programs. So it's a win-win for all.
Yeah, and better drivers too, not just anybody who can come with a pocketbook, because now the team itself has got a business model that they can make money and they can hire a good driver because running well is worth something now, even more than it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's great. Good stuff. I'll go to early last week highlights. The Whelen Modified Tour had a mid-week race at Thompson. Matt Hirschman picked up another victory there. And then we'll stay with the asphalt stuff for now. And we'll transfer to dirt later. Silver Crown, USAC Silver Crown at Iowa. Got to see some high speeds with those guys. CJ Leary dominated. Mario Clauser, his teammate, was kind of catching him a little bit at the end, but Leary was gone, dominant there. Not much of a story other than that. I mean, he was dominant. He got the lead. He got out to the lead early. I think he started 5th or something. And yeah, I mean, he's pretty well checked out for the majority of that race. Going over, putting the fenders back on, going to the Cars Tour down at Hickory. Saw a lot of carnage in both the pro and the late model stocks. The pro, I think the only guy that left there without a scratch was the winner, TJ DeCare. He started on the pole and was able to run away from all the guys beating the doors off of each other. And, everybody had damage. Keelan Harvick was missing a nose, and guys had fenders all caved in. Like, they were just beating the tar out of each other. Which Hickory can breed that. I mean, Hickory it's a rough, tough racetrack where you can make the outside work and go for the power move, but guys will run up too. So it's rough. Makes it exciting. And then the late model stocks, we had a great battle brewing between Caden Honeycutt and Corey Heim. Heim sent it in a little too hard, spun himself out underneath Honeycutt, kept it off. I mean, made a little contact, but kept it off of him. Didn't dump him, and then had to go to the tail and got caught up in another stack up that kind of ended his night. Honeycutt seemed to have the dominant car, and then on a restart, Lee Pulliam kind of shoved him, kind of had his rear tires off the ground coming off of 2. Lapsevich went 3 wide underneath. Pulliam dropped down in front of Lapsevich. When there's a car at your door, you can't go all the way down the racetrack. So he got clipped sideways and corrected into Honeycutt, kind of ultimately ending Honeycutt's day, kind of got him up into the fence. And so that ended him. And then Lapsevich, I saw, had did I see something like a broken track bar or something that kind of hindered him at the end. And Matthew Gold, who's getting crew chiefed by Connor Hall, who's a very winning racer in the late model stocks and in the Cars Tour. Matthew Gold picked up his first career win and his 4th career Cars Tour start. So impressive stuff there, cool stuff. But yeah, a lot of beating and banging with those guys. The gloves come off. More beating and banging. Arca West at Portland saw Mason Massey get the victory. You had 2 nitro cars at the front with 2 road racers in them. I don't remember who was leading and who was second. Now that I'm thinking about it, I can't remember. I mean, they were both all white nitro cars. But the one shoved the one out, and they beat the crap out of each other. And right on by rode Mason Massey to pick up a clean victory. I think he ended up he had to get by somebody else as well. But kind of just made his way to the front, kept it clean, and picked up his, I believe, his 2nd win of the year. And then Haley Deegan, I think, got 2nd there as well. So good run for her. And then the last of like short track pavement stuff, ARCA was at Iowa, and we saw another dominating performance by Tristan McKee. That
was his first national win, right? I think
yes.
His first national win.
First national win.
16.
Yeah, just turned 16, which is insane because I've known Tristan McKee's name for 2 years now.
Yeah.
As like a competitor and an up and comer, and he just turned 16.
Yeah.
Obviously he's got some good people behind him, and he's in with a really good organization, and he's a talent.
Yeah.
He's figured out how to really put some races together and dominate.
Yeah, no matter where he goes, right? If he's bars, he's fast. If he's there, he's fast. Like he's found speed wherever he goes right now. So
good road racer too.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I want to say he might have had some time in the Trans Am series. I know Brent Cruz did when he was coming up. He might have as well. But yeah, I mean, he's a guy we're going to watch, and we're going to hear his name for quite some time.
Yeah, for sure.
Flip over to dirt. You had the Ironman 55 at Peevely, I-55, which Friday night saw Chris Windham picking up his first national wing sprint car victory after, I think it was his 114th Outlaw start, something like that. I mean, he's been going at it. I mean, he was a dude with the wing off. He's a Triple Crown winner. He's a midget championship sprint car Silver Crown champion. He's a USAC Triple Crown guy. The wings on he had to relearn. I mean, he struggled for a while, and then he'd start to put together some runs. So to see him finally break through for that first win was cool. I mean, he's been grinding it out with, very historic team owner Jason Sides. Cool for them to get that win. And then another first-time National Series winner, Joey Worth, picked up the Extreme Midget portion on Friday night for his first national victory. And then Saturday night, Federated Auto Parts sponsors the track. Federated Auto Parts sponsored the winning driver, Logan Schuhart. Picked up the victory on led all 55, which you could look at that and go, he led all 55. It was probably just a snooze fest because I think night one there wasn't a whole lot of passing. Second place runner Buddy Kofoid came from 18th.
Wow.
Obviously couldn't get Schuhart, but there was a lot of big movers. I think there was 3 guys that had moved like 10 plus positions.
Yeah.
So a lot of passing, a lot of going on, but it was all happening behind Logan Schuhart. And then Carter Sarf picked up the midget portion of that, which he's having himself a very, very strong year in the midgets. Yeah, going over to Knoxville. Knoxville's 360 Nationals kicked off. And the high rollers had it early. Thursday night, Gio Scelzi picked up the win. Tyler Courtney picked up the win on Friday. Reitzel was really fast. Larson was good. But defending Knoxville Nationals 410 champion, Ryan Timms from the pole on Saturday wouldn't be denied for another year. It was close. I mean, I saw the end. Reitzel was there. Courtney was there. It just looked like the bottom had so much speed that like you could make a run on the top, but if they got the run, there wasn't enough of a momentum on the top and
not enough power with those cars, with those engines, probably to take advantage of that outside.
Which Larson spoke his piece about, as we saw, and put Larson back in the 410, and he won the Capitani Classic last night on Sunday evening, and now the Front Row Challenge is going on as we speak. Right when we started recording, qualifying was on, so we'll be able to watch that. But yeah, I mean, Larson able to rebound after a very rough showing in the Cup car, winning the Capitani Classic on Sunday night, at least put a little bit of light probably into his day. Before we get into the NASCAR stuff, though, Ultimate Sprint Car Series had another race. They were out at Santa Maria. And Caden Sorali went quick time and won the feature, which he's been really successful in the midget for a few years out west, and their sprint car program's certainly coming along. He's got a couple wins this year. So cool to see them, because I know he's run the sprint cars for a while, but he's had a lot more success in the midgets. Now they're starting to figure out some stuff in the sprint. And Caleb Montgomery was there and ran second, and he's as good as it's been out west in a non-wing sprint car this year. So good, some good competitive racing out west. Sprint car racing out west is not where it maybe once was, but with the wings and the non-wings both, I mean, the wing stuff especially, but the non-wing stuff really, really competitive as well. So obviously we love to see that. And IndyCar was at Portland, and Alex Palou picked up another victory. IndyCar race, Alex Palou wins.
He is just so amazing.
He is.
I mean, I have a hard time going back to think of anybody that's had the dominance that he's had for the length of time that he's had now. Like it's
incredible. He could go down as the best ever.
Yeah. I don't know how you would.
I don't know how you, because he's done this for what, 4 years now?
Yeah.
Is this year 5? Has he won the last 4 titles, and this would be 5, or has he won 3 and this would be 4?
No, he's won 4, I think. So this would be 5.
It'd be 5.
But it's not just winning a title; it's winning almost every race. Yeah, he's
incredible.
Yeah,
unbelievable, and he's got his 500 victory also now. So,
yeah.
I mean, incredible. All right, we'll go back to Iowa. Saw that other race, and good racing, but kind of pretty straightforward. The O'Reilly race. Some different stories. There was a lot of beating and banging. Another race. There's a lot of beating and banging this week. It's August. It's hot. Everybody's wore out. Tracks are slick. But a lot of beating and banging throughout that field. And Carson Kvapil goes back to back. Ask how long it would take for him to win again. 1 week.
Yeah. It just shows really that when things fall in place, that's what happens. He's driven some wonderful races in the past and just doesn't go right. And then in this case, he got the right restart. Ross spun the tires a little bit. He gets the lead. Immediately a caution comes out. He gets to take the jump, and it could have easily went the other way, right? It did for others that they got shoveled out. So good for him. He runs smart races. He's there. Yeah. And that track just, it lacks grip, obviously, especially at 100 and some degrees outside. It's going to be slick. And it really felt like everybody was on edge. And then once you lost the edge, it was that you fell off a cliff, and then you just lost all grip. Certainly saw it in the Cup cars when they would get aero, but you you also saw it with the O'Reilly cars, where they just looked like they would drive in all bound up, trying to hold it, and then if you missed or hit the bump wrong, then the car was gone, and you lost it. You saw it with Brent Cruz. He drove in low, it was underneath, and there was a lot. But when that car went, it went three wide, it went three lanes.
Yes.
So, then you see, Reddick, on Sunday, and I know I'm jumping ahead, but you kind of saw the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it was just a knife edge for anybody.
Yeah.
Which it just looks the way you set the car up, kind of bound up and compressed, and then when they would pop, then once they lost that, they were just gone. So good racing. I don't know. I watched the polls today, or people's comments, and I looked on social, and nobody was really complaining about the O'Reilly race, but certainly complaining about the Cup race. And it's like, that's racing. Like, I don't know how you can have a field of cars that's so close and expect everybody to pass. Like, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I will say the one thing that was dramatic in the Cup series, the O'Reilly series, I thought they raced great. You guys were on edge, but there was some close quarters racing. Brent Cruz was on his cold trickle, hit the pace car mission, seemed like, which he's young. He hasn't had a day like that yet. They're going to have those days like that. He had a learning day, and that was what it was. I think he'll come out on the other side better of it. The Cup car, you really saw the aero dramatically. We all know it's been there and that the cars get aero tight. You saw it vary on a dramatic scale, I think, at Iowa this week, especially with Bell running down Gibbs at the end. Now, Bell made the mistake the first time and lost him and had to come chase him back down. He just couldn't get to him because as soon as there was half a car within his lane, it just looked like he couldn't get any drive. And now that could also be because of how bound up they were running through the corner. I don't know.
A couple things, right? He could drive it off in there and hold it compressed down and get right to that bumper, but then he couldn't come off. Think of when he was leading or when he was further away. Like, he would pick up the throttle in the middle of the corner and then just drive all the way to the wall. Like, he was tight as it was. So put somebody in front of him and take a little air off that. Like, he's only that much worse.
True.
Granted, there's an aero issue. I mean, you can't deny that. But I also think it's a little bit the way that track ran. Like, you could drive in on somebody, but you're going to have to anchor that thing down and woe it down on brakes. So it looked like you had this big, huge momentum, but you couldn't do anything with that. That's how you got there. And then, so you're compromised. You get to choose one side of the corner, it felt like. You could drive in or you could drive out.
Sure.
And, Ty Gibbs was the one kind of rolling both, really.
He kind of had a little middle ground.
Yeah.
Where Bell was really good in, but never seemed like he got a great run off.
Yeah.
Looked like he would get bound up, and like he couldn't get there. I know you and I talked a little off air about it, and kind of in light of Mark Martin's kind of recent comments talking about aero. Because there's too much aero. They got too much downforce. And I don't disagree. I don't agree. I don't know where I'm at.
Well, I'll agree. But 20-some years ago when I was racing, it was the same conversation. I know they can say that they didn't have aero, but there was aero push then in the Indy cars, in NASCAR. Like, it happened. Yeah, you could pull up better. It's not near to the level it is today. But, like what you and I were talking, and this is the hard part for me. Like, we can be old school racers and we can throw this out there and say it's not. Everybody's learned so much. It's not the same. Like, they're not taking a 1978 Cutlass out there and putting, covering up the headlights and racing them. So teams have learned how to manipulate these cars, even these cars that are cookie cutter, whatever, right? Yeah. Obviously, there's ways to do it because there's teams that are up front every week, and there's teams that are not.
Yep.
So I don't know how you put, it back in the box. Like this knowledge, like what they've learned, how they know air is important, and if they can get it on the cars, they're going to figure out a way to do it. So it's not an easy fix, I should say. Like we speak about it like, well, let's just, they need to do what we had then. I think it would be the same then. And guess what? Mark Martin, there's no way I can disagree with him. He's raced. He's one of the most talented drivers. Worked on his own stuff. He's super good, but it's not an easy fix, and he knows that too, right? Like you're not going to do this. And you go back to Cup at that point. You had Roush, you had Hendrick. You had Penske. You had, but Penske's you didn't have
coming in though,
right? And Roush was dominant. So Mark set in very good stuff, and other than Hendrick, other than a couple Gibbs cars, like you had more diversity in the field as far as speed than you have even today. So these problems are just not easy to solve. I mean, I think I heard 3 crew chiefs prior to this race when they were talking about it, and they were talking about Daytona, they were talking about the short tracks, they were talking about stuff, and they're like, I really don't know. Like we've tried so much, I don't know where to go. And I think part of that, the magnifier is the cars are all so much the same, they're all so close. So you're splitting hairs. I mean, you and I saw it when we were talking to Todd Barrier in Darlington. Like, what used to be an 1/8 of an inch or a 1/16 of an inch, what now is thousands.
Or 1,000.
Yeah. I mean, you're just finite little changes that are perfection. So, you've narrowed this gap down so much that it makes it really, really challenging. So
I think you can even go on that and go, okay, you don't even have to talk about teams and people have learned more. Computers.
Well, that's
all the technology that goes into it. Like regardless of if whoever's working for Hendrick now is just as good or better or not as good as whoever was working on Childress stuff with Earnhardt.
Well,
it doesn't matter what the man knows, the computers know, and that's the difference now. Like that's
I heard it. I think I heard it before Talladega, where they're talking about the fuel mileage race, and it's the same thing. Then now they know that's worth it.
Yeah,
and because they could run model races on the computer.
Yeah,
where once you had X amount of data from X amount of races, now you've ran 10,000 different races with different scenarios, and you know exactly how to do it. So you can't put the
genie back in the bottle.
Yeah, and it's the cars are, I know they want to say that they're so stuck to the ground with the wide tire and this and that, but you saw Brad Keselowski crash qualifying on his own.
But there's an edge because
there's an edge.
There's very much an edge.
Reddick,
with Kyle Larson, and there's a lot of people that Kyle Larson's the greatest race car driver to ever live, and there's a lot of people that go Kyle Larson's the most overrated race car driver to ever live. And I think both sides, I'd put myself more on the side of he's a great race car driver because of what we've seen him able to do in just raw driving ability. But he hadn't won in 455 days. He's stepped over that line quite a few times and taken himself out and puts himself in bad positions, which for his style also is what makes him very, very good.
Yeah.
This car doesn't reward that. Now, he's still the most winning driver in the next gen car. Denny Hamlin's probably getting real close, but you have guys that step over that line. Great race car drivers that step over that line and continuously. So yeah, there is an edge for sure. They're not the easiest. I shouldn't say that. I wonder if they are maybe more stable to drive, but you can't get more out of it than what it's going to give you.
Yeah.
As soon as you try to get more out of a car than what's there, I mean, I think you see guys like Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott who know how to just finish races, and Denny Hamlin. And now Denny Hamlin's got, you know, the Toyotas are so good right now and why he is up front every week. But you've got like Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott who have been running really well with their teams not as great because they know how to finish races. They know, okay, I'm not going to step over that line.
Yeah.
And they're smart. So, you know, it's a different game than it once was. And I'd love to take all the downforce off and give them a bunch of horsepower and boys have at it. I was listening to the Dale Jr. Download with Matt Weaver and Marcus Smith and Jeff Burton. Really interesting roundtable to hear. They talked about Nashville, talked about a lot of things. And they talked about the All-Star race. And Marcus Smith threw out an idea of like, what if we ran them on a wet track? We saw that at Bowman Gray. It would work if certain guys wouldn't drive certain ways, but you can't tell them how to drive. So, but what if we did that for an all-star race? Like, I think one of Matt Weaver kind of proposed like a run what you brung kind of deal. It's like, okay, you have the car, but we open up the little detail of rules. See the product it puts out, because the all-star race has just become a glorified test session. It seems like.
Yeah. I think there was a lot of talk about doing that.
Maybe we'll see it next year.
Yeah, you know, it's just expensive.
It is.
Because you're gonna
those charters are worth $100 million. So
yeah, you're gonna
spend.
You're gonna go. You're gonna see teams, right? That will build those real unique cars. But it's what we used to see. I mean, there was T-Rex that
was what innovation was.
Right. T-Rex was a Hendrick product, right? That Gordon drove.
Yep.
There was a lot of stuff that was really wild, and it was kind of a fun era of the sport. So I'm for it. Who cares? It's not my money.
It's not my money. Yeah, we can say all we want when it's not our money. Yeah, try this. Take this off. Put this on. All right, before we get wrapped up, since I am fortunate enough that Mom and I get to go to the Knoxville Nationals this year for the first time, let's preview a little bit. One thing I found very interesting, I don't know if you've looked at the Wednesday-Thursday prelim split. Thursday is very heavy high limit. Wednesday, you got your high limit drivers. Hank Davis is no longer a full-time high roller. You've got Tanner Holmes, Rico Abreu. You could probably argue Corey Day is a high limit guy. But you got two full-timers. You've got Justin Peck, and you've got Selzy. So you got four high rollers on Wednesday. On Thursday, you've got, which there's been a little bit of a change because of Sweet backing out. They've done a little recycling, but you've got Tyler Courtney, you've got Chase Randall, you've got Dason Pursley, you've got Brent Marks, Larson would be another kind of guy. You've got Reisel, and you've got Thorson. So it is a little bit more even than it originally was that I saw. But you've got 6 on Thursday, 4 on Wednesday. And then outlaws are pretty evenly dispersed, it looks like.
Which outlaws are which night?
You got Gravel, Cole Macedo, Chris Wyndham, Donnie Schatz, Sheldon Hodenshield, which Brock Zierfoss actually I think is a full-time high roller now because he's in the 17 GP car, which that would add one for them. Sheldon Hodenshield. Danny Sams is Wednesday. So, okay, the high rollers are even. Emerson Axum. And those are your outlaws on Wednesday. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 on Wednesday. And then Thursday, you've got Shoehart. You've got...
What night is Tim's?
Tim's is night 1 is Wednesday. Outlaws on Thursday. You've got, I guess, Shoehart. Baston, Baylog, Garrett Williamson.
Where's Buddy?
Buddy.
It's
a pretty balanced. Originally, it was. I thought it was very heavy Wednesday outlaw, very Thursday high roller. But looking at it now, it's pretty dead even. Yeah, I mean, you've got some dudes on both nights. You know, you got between Gravel, Tim's, Corey Day, Rico, Shots, Sheldon Hodenshield, who's had a great year. McFadden, you got Brady Bacon on Wednesday. Justin Peck was good in the Capitani last night. You got Danny Dietrich, Selzy, and then Thursday. You got Shoehart, Courtney, Baston, who's had a good season. Marks, Brian Brown, who's great at Knoxville. You got Carson Macedo, Anthony Macri, Kyle Larson, Darren Pittman.
Macri's still going to be sore.
Macri's going to be sore. That was a hit.
Yeah.
Man, that was a scary one.
I don't know that there's much salvageable out of that car. Anything.
No, that thing disintegrated, which good.
Yeah. I think it absorbed a lot, but everything was tore off that thing. It was an ugly wreck.
It was an ugly one. It was a scary one. And then
really no. I mean, that was just I don't get what happened there with Bacon. Like, to just drive down, that he was way there, like very visible.
Yeah.
So, just a mistake, obviously.
Yes.
But Macri's just had some brutal crashes in the last year.
Well, he's been out injured with a back injury already this year.
Yeah. Who's your favorite? Who do you think?
That's tough. You've got Larson, who won the Capitani last night, so clearly he's got some speed. Rico's car was really coming on strong at the end, though. He'll be interesting to watch. Gravel was up there. Kind of what I noticed about Gravel this year, though, it seems like he only wins if he starts up there, up front. He's not a drive through the field huge guy. Knoxville's not usually a drive through the field race, though. Reitzel was good in the 360, and he's ran local at Knoxville. They've been a little bit of a slump, but this could be. They've been really fast this season.
I don't think you can, by any means, think outside of Tim's either. He is. I've watched too many races where he is too good there. And he's running on a local level, and he won. He's defending champion, and he looks good there. Something happened last night. He couldn't run, right? He broke
something.
He was in street close.
He was really, really. He's a favorite for sure.
And then, it is a track that Day should be great at.
If the bottom doesn't come in too strong.
Yes. If running the top works, he should be.
Corey Day could be very good, which he's won at Knoxville earlier this season. It'll be interesting.
It's not an easy race to win. No matter
not an easy
who it
race
is.
to win. That's why it's you know, it's got the list that it does. You win there, you're legendary. Jason Johnson throwback scheme for Macedo, I think, is cool too.
Mm-hmm. So whose shirts are you got to buy?
Well, I'm going to see if I got cool merch. I really want a Justin Peck one ever since he gave his interview on High Limit of what he wouldn't be doing if he was racing. He said he was a center fielder and played baseball. So I want a Justin Peck something shirt or hat. Definitely want something from Knox, like an event shirt, which I'll probably get that and just keep for, when I have kids, like much like you and Mom did for me. Get something cool Knoxville to wear, something from the Hall of Fame. I'm taking the shirts I already picked them out. I've got my Steve Kinzer shirt that's signed. I've got my Jack Hewitt 4-crown shirt that's signed. I've got my Shane Carson shirt that's signed. And I've got my Race for Chase, Chase Johnson shirt.
Nice.
So those are the 4 we're rolling with.
Nice.
So I'm excited. I get to hear all about it next week. So yeah, that kind of wraps up everything I wanted to get
awesome
in.
We'll have fun. And, we talked about Grandpa last week, feeling bad and feeling better, getting better. And
getting better.
So we'll talk. We'll say thank you to Grandma.
Nursing him back to health.
Nursing him back to health and putting up with his grumpy attitude. So.
Yeah, we shouted out Grandpa last week, and he's doing better. And I got to shout out his caregiver.
Yeah,
my grandma. So, all right, that signs us off. And our cornfield talk, episode 27. It's a great time to be a race fan. And hear us talk about that every Wednesday on Spotify and YouTube. We'll see you guys next week.